out there until, there's something to talk about. And I'm just starting the process. And so we'll see what happens. And, of course, if something does, I'll be the first to let you know. I'm on more days of the week where you can actually tune me in, whether it's on the internet or on the station, the frequency. And we'll just see what happens, man. It's in God's hands, whatever happens. This flu outbreak, it's kind of scary because any of us can get sick at any time. Some of you are iron, you don't get sick no matter what happens, and you got, immune systems. People swear by, and you can do research yourself on vitamin C and zinc. And if you take that all the time, and listen, if, you're under a doctor's care, make sure you ask your doctor, because you might be taking other medications, and too much zinc, too much C. You may be on a multivitamin already. Just clear it with your doctor before doing it. But people swear by it. I know people that work for the airline industry, and they're always loading up on vitamin C and zinc. That's the two that I frequently hear, and they swear by it, that if you take that, you're not going to come down with it. Well, parents are telling their stories of what's happened to their loved ones as a result of this. 20 people, 20 children, they say, according to the CDC's latest report, California being hit particularly hard with reports of at least 27 deaths of people there under the age of 65 in the state since October. It's a pretty bad one. They say the virus that's going around all the states except Hawaii, influenza A, H3N2. It's A, H3N2, and it tends to be more severe. They say it affects the elderly and the very young. Well, that's according to the CDC. The domestic influenza surveillance team was telling Fox, but the flu can hit anyone. Sadly, we hear every year of people that were previously healthy and active, and they get influenza and die for reasons we don't understand. Doctors don't understand it. Bramer says that we're getting pretty close of the peak of flu season, but flu activity is likely to continue for several more weeks. And as the nation continues to fight the illness, some families are sharing their stories in hopes of preventing others from facing similar tragedies. He says, they say, the families, they say, we want to make our stories available so others know what we went through and maybe how they might be able to avert it. Kilo Lino, the mother of 12-year-old victim Alicia Alcaraz, told Fox News, it's not fair. We know it's not fair. We don't want revenge. We want change. And basically, the deal is that she got pneumonia from the flu and didn't go to the doctors, in her 20s, by the way. And a lot of young people, they say, don't go to the doctors. They just try to stave it off with cough medicine, and it got out of control in her lungs, and pneumonia killed her. And as a result of influenza, and sometimes it can turn into that, where you get that nasty chest cold, and it starts out really innocent and then becomes very aggressive. And this happens a lot more. They say, please, do not rule out, these colds. You need to treat them. Fourth grade death was related to the flu type B. Another pneumonia case, medical examiner confirmed to Fox 61 2 days after the boy's death, but it was flu-related. He says, Nico was wonderful, enthusiastic, outgoing boy who was known school-wide for his high spirits, limitless energy, and quick smile. And the mother posted on the school's website, we will miss Nico terribly and will always cherish our memories of him as a vibrant, fun-loving boy. 4 days before Alicia's death, was diagnosed with the flu, sent home from a local urgent care with some nausea medicine and cough syrup. A 12-year-old girl's health continued to deteriorate over the next 4 days. She became lethargic, and she had trouble breathing. Her mom, Keela, took her back to the urgent care where she was told her oxygen levels were low and was transported to a nearby hospital. And hours after arriving at the hospital, she went into cardiac arrest and died on December 17th. It wasn't until days later that Leno learned that her daughter's death was a result of septic shock from a strep infection in her blood, and an infection that she had no idea her daughter was suffering from. I know right now with flu season, clinics, hospitals, everyone's just busy and assuming that's what everyone has, Leno said, but it's more than that. It's in order for us to know with simple blood work, it could have been caught, something so simple. And when I read that and when I heard that, it reminds me you have to be proactive. And a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses, not all, but a lot of them are quick to say it's the flu because you're not feeling well. Oh, yep, it's a symptom. You've got the flu. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, just rest, Tylenol, fluids, etc. Monitor those things and send you home. Blood workup would have saved her life, and that's the tragedy about that. And basically, what the family is saying here's our story. You know, make sure that the doctors run the test, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You gotta put yourself out there a little bit, make some noise, and even if you have to go see another doctor, go another town over, whatever it is, make sure your body usually lets you know there's something wrong. But if you got that gut instinct that it's much more than something, you're better safe than sorry. A good friend of mine, Kay Reitz, she used to be the producer of For the People back in the day, over 15 years ago. She had some heart problem. I guess it was about 10 o'clock at night, and she thought it was gas or whatever, and they gave her some nitro, gave her some aspirin, and they're doing some tests right now, but she didn't have a heart attack. She had one back in 2004. But stuff like that, yeah, better safe than sorry. They think it may have something to do with her esophagus, so they're not sure. But it seems like at least she's out of the woods for the heart part, which is great. So some of you know Kay, and she's doing all right. Her husband drove her there, and he posted it on Facebook. Thank God for Facebook. I mean, there's actually good things that happen on Facebook where, you know, you can just send the word out, the message so quick to friends and family, you know, if there's something going on. But I love Kay and hope everything just works out for her and her husband. The salt of the earth kind of people. They live in Neenah, Wisconsin. Neat place to live, man. Nice people. Love that part of the country. Here's the story of the week here. I got to tell you about California employees that work, you know, obviously for different companies, helping in reported ICE crackdowns, told by Attorney General that they're going to be prosecuted. I'm talking about California employers assisting immigration and custom enforcement in a reported widespread immigration crackdown. The AG is going to go after him. California Attorney General Xavier Becker said on Thursday that his warning comes amid reports that U.S. immigration agents were planning mass sweeps targeting illegal immigrants within the Northern California communities. So under the state's new Immigration Workers Protection Act, businesses and employees provided information about employees to immigration authorities could face up to $10,000. Now, let me read this slower. Under the state's new Immigration Worker Protection Act, businesses and employers providing information about employees to immigration authorities could face fines of up to $10,000, according to the Sacramento Bee. San Francisco Chronicle reported federal immigration officials were preparing for a major sweep in San Francisco and other Northern California cities to arrest more than 1,500 illegal immigrants. And then ICE operation aims to send a message that immigration policies will be enforced in the sanctuary states. And see, the ICE effort is being thwarted, the efforts on these fines, basically warning anybody that employs anybody in the state is going to be fined $10,000. The sweep centered in the Bay Area could happen within weeks. For San Francisco, expected to become a biggest enforcement action of its kind under President Donald Trump, according to the Chronicle. It cited an unnamed source. It's important, given these rumors are out there, to let people know, more specifically today, employers, that if they voluntarily start giving up information about their employees or access to the employees in the ways that contradict our new California laws, they subject themselves to actions by my office. Folks, you got the governor, you got mayors, they're all on board with this thing, and it all comes down to two things: money, illegals, and paid voters. That's where it comes down to. Paid voters, and they get paid off. They make money off these folks. And what they don't realize, a lot of these illegals, it's hurting them. And it hurts our country. More is going out than coming back into our economy. It's a known fact that they send money back home, and it feeds the Mexican government. Okay, because that's where, let's just face it, not all immigrants are from Mexico, by the way. But a lot of them are. A lot of them. And it doesn't help our bottom line. Doesn't help at all. One iota. With school systems, we're already overtaxed. And a system, by the way, that was bankrupt. California. And all they want to do is they want to keep it that way. Because in the name of tolerance, there's a reason. They're not doing it out of their better nature, folks. They make you think that they're doing it that way. But there's a reason why, and the deep down reason is because they get the votes. And they also get the free, cheap labor. And as a result, they still get tax dollars, but they don't get as much tax dollars as they want because it comes down to payola. Because of the corruption in government. A lot of people, they look at Puerto Rico with the problems there over in Puerto Rico. I know something about it because my wife's from Puerto Rico. But I know people from over there, and there's a lot of corruption over there. But the corruption is equally, if not more, corrupt over here, especially out in California, you figure. All in the name of we are being tolerant. And last week I went off on this, and it's this tolerance, and I'm tolerant to a certain degree. But when it hurts our country financially, and it hurts us protection-wise, you're going to get one irate American very unhappy about it. But you know what? We can get them back. We got to remember when it's time to vote, we remember their deeds, and we remember who they are. There's conservatives in California, but largely speaking, and if you are a conservative out there and you're out in Los Angeles, you're not touting that too much. You're not saying that too much because we know the blacklisted folks out there, and it's not just in Hollywood, it's not just in the movies, not just in entertainment. A lot of you do not mention your political affiliations at work, with colleagues, with any of your friends, because you know you're going to be written off quick. You know your career is going to be over that fast. And just because of the status of what it is today. I have never seen it so polarized like this. It's just amazing to me. Especially when you get Barack Obama making statements like, you ever watch Fox News? It's like, they're completely on a different planet, and he actually, and I think what he says is absolutely correct. CNN, Fox News, 100% different because here's the difference. This past week, the other one was the Fake News Awards, and by the way, CNN definitely was at the top of the list for their fake news reporting, but they make up the news. They don't report it. Oh, yeah, they report fake news. There's plenty of news stories worthy to be told. Some of the ones that I told you about influenza, things about the ice roundup, and just how California, that we just talked about, is telling businesses, if you give up any information about these illegals, we'll fine you $10,000 a pop. Isn't that interesting? Try to be legal, try to be helpful for the federal government to crack down. Well, what happens when the federal government arrests them for not giving the other information? I mean, that's mixed messages right there. So the federal government